once we start doing restoration, it's always from the outside in. Okay, so first thing that we did was look over the brake system, make sure that was up and running. We did replace a few brake valves, some brake shoes, simple stuff like that. A couple pigtail lines on the ends of the train so we can connect to the full consist. So once we had all the mechanical areas taken care of, then we started working on the windows. So the windows, as you see now, are basically temporary. We're in the process of having window jambs and sills made out of steel. Once they are finished, we'll be installing those, and then we'll be having wooden windows with stained glass transom windows above it. That's why you see the big cutouts like they are now. So originally, you know, the way it came in, you've seen these smaller sealed windows. Well, that doesn't go with, of course, our design of what we're trying to do with the 1920s Pullman era. So we raised up the height of the windows, a lot of steel fabrication in that part, and we're just waiting on some parts to complete it right now. Functional, yeah. So the first step on that was there was some wiring already done inside the car when we got it. So it was up to us to find out what wires are working, what wasn't, what was hooked up correctly, and you know, what did we have to replace. So what you see in there now is actually some fixtures that were inside the car that they're planning on using. So we made sure all the ceiling lights, the lights down along the windows, and as much power as we could get hooked up in it for this 2021 season is what we did so far with that. But there will be a lot of different upgrades with electric in the future here. So everything you see inside right now is temporary. And it's basically going to be a Ghost of the Christmas Past themed car. We've done this in the past with our Wonderland car before, where we have a car that is basically ready for passengers, but not to our full extent like our lounge and parlor car. So we bring a designer in from Becker Home, and she does a fantastic job.
I'm Monique Becker. I own Becker Home in Boyertown, and I'm an interior designer. And for the railroad, I have been asked over the last several years to decorate their trains for Christmas. And started out in most of the holidays, but now I'm just focusing on Christmas, and we're working on the Diplomat car today. They still have the original stenciling up on the walls, which is phenomenal. It's so fantastic and so beautiful. And so I walked into this car, and I try not to redo themes for each car. Is a little bit of a different feel to it, and I didn't want to redo the same thing in this one. So I saw the stenciling and the painting, and I just walked in and think it's like an old Victorian mansion, house, library, study, just kind of homey feel with that twist of elegance. I said, but it's like, we've got to do Christmas. So I'm like, oh, Ghost of Christmas Past, let's do that. So it will be a Christmas Carol theme. So you will, you know, if you know the story of Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Christmas Yet to Be, we're going to have little features from all of that. We're going to have some interesting film shots going on in the car, and a little bit of Scrooge and Marley's office. So you'll have little bits and pieces of the movie. If you know the story, you'll see and recognize a lot of that in the details. So a lot of the stuff that I like to do, when you look at it on the first glance, it's just, oh, that looks really pretty. But if you start to look around and notice the details, you'll see all the story elements kind of woven into the decorations. The challenge is always to try to be in keeping with the period of the car, and so knowing that what we put up is not going to be permanent, but you still want it to look as close to period as you can, that's always another challenge. It's fun to try to figure it out, to be creative in that aspect, but to come up with something that still looks good but isn't it can't look 21st century when you hang it up. So trying to find decorations that are mass marketed in those quantities that you need is always been the tricky part. Anytime they have a new car that comes on that really the interior hasn't been renovated yet, but they still need it to look nice, they call me to help them out with that. I like to do one-of-a-kind kind of projects. Yeah, and this definitely is one of a kind. The theme when I first started doing this was the 12 Days of Christmas. So you'll notice in some of the older cars that you'll see lots of those elements from the 12 Days of Christmas. And so playing off of themes like that, it really is a fun way to design and give some visual excitement, you know, aside from just, it's just another depth, it's just another layer of decoration that I think is really fun. It's the volunteers that help put it up are phenomenal. There's no way that everything could happen and get put together and put up. There's so many decorations. It's unreal. So just, it takes, you know, a good solid 2 weeks to decorate everything. This car, you know, I've booked out 2 days to get it done when I could really use a week if I had it. But yeah, the extra help is amazing. Yeah. You're never done. You're never done. There's, every time I finish, I'm like, oh, I could add an extra layer here, an extra layer there. Knowing that the Victorian and Edwardian eras, the opulence was the thing, and so the more the better, and you can never have too many decorations ever.
Hey Joan, you know what's coming up, right?
Yeah, lots of rain.
No, not rain.
My birthday?
No, not your birthday. Christmas!
Oh, of course it's Christmas. That's why we're decorating the train.
Yeah, and when it's all done, then we can tell those little guys.
Who?
You know, the little guys, the elves, the ones that talk to Santa.
Yes, the big guy, Santa. I can't wait until he's on the train. It's such a magical time.
Yeah, because you know what? It's magic on the train. It's the smell of the hot chocolate.
It's watching the people walk in the door and going, oh, look at these decorations. This is beautiful.
All the lights. Just all the kids running back and forth, driving their parents crazy.
Well, we better get back to work because the elves are waiting for us and there's a lot to do yet.
Hi, my name's Judy Miller. I've been on the train now for 6 years. This will be my 5th Christmas, and we're here to decorate.
And my name is Joan Hanaho, and this is also my 6th year on the Colebrookdale Railroad and my 5th Christmas. So when we started taking care of all the decorations years ago, everything was taken down by other staff and just unloaded in the warehouse.
And we had a mountain,
Yeah, a mountain of stuff.
probably 8 feet tall, just a huge pile. And we decided we were going to spend 2 to 3 days, and we just sorted through piles of ornaments and hooks and garlands and trees, all just
And
turning a pile.
then we started sorting everything by season, by car. So every car has a color coded duct tape on the side, so we know parlor is purple and so on. But the best part for us was when some of the carpenters built us shelving units. Oh, we were in 7th heaven.
Yeah.
Sitting there, looking at all of those shelves and, oh my gosh, we have somewhere to put everything.
Yeah. We have storage now for probably 200 tubs.
We have decorating tubs for every season of the year.
But there's 100 for Christmas.
It seems like every year or every other year another car is added, another car to decorate.
Most tourist railroads don't
No.
do this. You may get a wreath or two or a little tree in the corner here or there, but nothing like this.
No, we heard from somebody who's worked on a lot of railroads that he has not seen cars decorated like this.
I send out a sign-up genius to the whole volunteer group, and we cross our fingers every year that we're a little light this year on help, but we've managed to get, we're on track. We have 4 more days, so we're on track. We need more help.
Yes.
Anybody who you don't have to be creative, you don't have to make anything, you just have to be able to hang it up. We just enjoy it. We enjoy being on the train when it's running. We enjoy doing this. I've done it. I've sold tickets. I've hit every job at least once.
This little fella came to us quite by what I would describe as accident. That I was on the phone one day, as I always am, and Bill Hogan said to me something, which apparently was, "Would you like to have a cat?" And I nodded and smiled and waved, and the next day Catrick shows up, and we decided very early on he would be a good office kitty, but we were worried that, you know, on the hours when there's nobody here, would he have company? And so we have at home a brother and a sister who were best friends, cats, and we thought, well, that would be a good idea for the railroad, for him to have a little sister. And so we found out that Catrick was actually a member of a family, and the rest of the kittens got taken to the SPCA, but he hid, and they didn't know that he actually existed until a week later he popped up and announced himself, and that's when he made his way here. So we then reached out to the SPCA to find out about his siblings, and we found out there was a little girl, and so we put an application in and adopted a little girl. And they are friends, although Catrick has to make the distinction between friend and chew toy. You can see he's very curious, and he broke into the conference room that we were painting, and hence the paint on his muzzle. We have two holiday-themed trains that run on the Colebrookdale Railroad, or two holiday-themed types of trains that run on the Colebrookdale Railroad. Santa's Polar Bear Express are our daytime trains, and the Twas the Night Before Christmas trains are our evening trains. We encourage folks to join us, knowing that this is a memory-making device. This is a great place to take photographs, and they're just the most beautiful pictures that you can imagine. So we encourage you to join us in your Christmas best, and for our evening trains, those Twas the Night Before Christmas trains, we encourage you to join us in your pajamas. And we make sure that the coaches are nice and warm, and everyone gets hot cocoa and cookies. We sing carols, and particularly on our Night Before Christmas trains, we also read "Twas the Night Before Christmas" on board the train. And Santa joins us on all the trains, of course.